Got it.
Okay. And then when I start our, let's see, live on Facebook. I had to learn to do all this stuff for this thing. It was kind of stressful when I was learning it, but it's better now.
It's good. Yeah, I'm about to upgrade my whole video capabilities here on Friday.
Oh, yeah?
Mhm.
Are you excited?
You know, I've got so many learning curves going on for myself. It's just like another one.
Right,
Okay, that's
right.
Friday's challenge.
The mark of a true leader.
Right?
The norm is the comfort zone is being uncomfortable. Right?
Exactly.
Okay, let's see, a few seconds away from going live. Have a sip of water or if you need it.
Yeah, I've got it here too.
All right, and here we go. Today is Wednesday, June 22nd, 2022. Welcome to Conversations with Champions, where we learn top secrets, tips, and tools from industry experts and faculty of the Champions Institute. We're creating a world of champions who lead with courage, love, and excellence, empowering entrepreneurs, businesses, and real estate industry leaders to optimize their people, processes, and profits. I'm Cheri Lucas, Business Development Manager and High Impact Coach, and your host and champion for achieving your highest purpose, performance, and prosperity. Today's champion is Pamela Stambaugh. Pamela, President and founder of Accountability Pays, Inc., has practiced as a behavioral change master for over 30 years. Today, she focuses her attention on emerging leaders with her Emerging Leader Accelerator, and she supports growing organizations with CEO Tools by Aprio, the proven step-by-step business system that drives consistent results. CEO stands for Communicate, Execute, Optimize. And over 10,000 managers and CEOs, you got it right, over 10,000 managers and CEOs have used CEO tools to drive profitable growth. If you're tuning in live, please help me welcome Pamela Stambaugh by commenting in the chat box. Say hashtag live or hashtag replay and welcome Pamela in the chat box. All right, Pamela, I'm really excited to talk to you today about the new program that you're getting ready to roll out this next month, I believe, Success Accelerators and Action Multipliers for the Time Challenged Leader. Wow. Now, to me, that sounds like every leader. So Pamela, just give us a little teaser about what's coming up next month.
Right. Well, thank you, Cheri. It's really lovely to be here. And I've looked forward to this conversation. So any leader who's time challenged, you're right. That's pretty much all of us, isn't it? Right. So we want to be accountable, awake, and aware. And that's pretty much the essence of the Success Accelerators and Action Multipliers. You and I were just talking about what we don't know, the DK. And that would be something that I'm bringing forward as an aspect of the Success Accelerators plus Action Multipliers. And what that means is I have a framework of 7 dimensions of team power. Let's face it, a leader isn't a leader unless they have a team, right?
Yes.
So if you've got a team, you could call yourself a leader, except the only way you know you're a leader is if people follow you, right? Because the title manager or director doesn't do it. It isn't what has people be motivated. Yeah, you might have authority, you might have control over a paycheck, you might be giving a performance review. That doesn't mean people want to follow you. And that's the aspect of leadership we want, is to get those 7 dimensions of team power all in a big rowboat rowing in the same direction to reach those goals. That's what we want.
Oh, wonderful. And so what I heard you say is the title leader or manager or director does not make a person a leader. So what we want to know, what are the top secrets for achieving championship results as a leader? What makes you a champion leader?
Well, I would say if I could pick 3 words to keep it simple, they would be accountable to your team for providing the resources that they need. And that might be internal resources or external resources, but you're accountable. You are accountable to that team to give them what they need to be successful. You may get the credit for some of it, and they are the ones who have to do the heavy lifting because you can't do it alone. That's accountable. Awake and aware are the other 2. And when we're speaking about awake and aware, that's what you have to look for. What you don't know, you already don't need. What you don't know, you don't know.
Ah. So Pamela, I understand that whole concept because I use that all the time. I don't know what I don't know. But if you don't know what you don't know, how do you go about becoming aware of what you don't know?
Well, hey, there's a leading question for you, Cheri. So how about if you had 52 weekly tips, right? Plus action multipliers, yes?
Oh, yeah, I
Right?
like it. So something to get you thinking and ignite that creativity and ideas. I love that.
Ignite that leadership. So I would be happy to share that model if you'd be interested.
I would love to see it.
Let's do that.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so now this is actually an inside page of the Success Accelerators and Action Multipliers. It's a sample, and it does show you the 7 dimensions of team power as a framework for those 52 leadership success accelerators. It's the organizing principle that I utilize to put together what would I want to be talking to leaders about, like no kidding. And so you can see the 7 here. Trusting, trustworthy, and there are 6 additional traits that relate to that. That's a number 1, isn't it? If you don't have trust, you got nothing. And then 2nd would be results oriented, and 3rd would be transparent. 4th would be having perspective, bringing appropriate perspective.
Yes.
Right? And then 5 would be collaborative, being collaborative, listening, being inclusive, supportive, etc. 6 would be innovative. What does it take to find the new and needed new? And then accountable. Now, I actually have a way to depict that, and I put it here as part of my backstory, which is that the success accelerators are complementary to this model, the 7 dimensions of team power. That's the framework. So does that help kind of put it in context?
It does. It does help put it into context. And I love that just having the word, the labels, and the concepts named helps your mind to start going there, right? To start ticking and think, okay, what does that mean to me? You know, how does that translate into my life on a daily basis? Those kind of questions.
Yeah.
Is that just me, or am I abnormal?
No. I think the organizing principle of it does help the mind grab it, right?
Yes.
So it's simple and it's straightforward, and you can put your head around it. You can actually take it on.
Yes.
So it's bite-sized for a reason.
Yes.
We don't want to take on them. We don't want the whole elephant.
Exactly. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
One bite at a time.
So in this case, is it 52 bites? Does that mean that this is a program that lasts for 52 weeks?
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's a weekly delivery of content. Some of it is the written that I download for you, and then some of it is a video that accompanies that really speaks to what you don't know about whatever we're talking about here. Yeah.
I love
And
that.
all of it in service of accountable, awake, and aware. Because look, members of a team want and deserve that you bring your best self to this conversation. And that means your best leadership self. And you got a lot of other stuff to think about when you're a leader. You've got accountability to somebody else, whether it's a board or an executive team, whoever that is. There are accountabilities that you have elsewhere, and you carry those in to lead your team. They may be in the way. They may be okay, but they may be in the way. And so how do you sort yourself out about that? Well, you would optimally take some time to sort yourself out about that, right? You would not make that be a casual, if I happen to think of it, or if it happens to show up, or if I happen to get, struck by the lucky lightning in the
So
moment
what
you show up.
what does that look like, Pamela? An intentional accountability session or a reframe or a reset. What is that? Do you have suggestions or
Yeah,
an illustration?
Right. I actually do. Let me show you the sample one. All right. So
Okay, great.
now this one happens to be the sample, and it's also the first one. So trusting and trustworthy. There's a little bit of content here. It happens to be one of the mega traits, meaning it's one of the 7 dimensions of team power. And it's the bedrock of effective working relationships. Do you have it or don't you have it? Do you know? Now, one of the things that I really encourage is journaling. So we make that available right here. Now, when it comes and it's not a sample, there will be a little question here for you to answer for yourself so that you've got the rest of this page, or you might like to type rather than write. It doesn't matter. The point is you want to be journaling. There's a lot of evidence that leaders who take on journaling find that it's incredibly valuable to their own insight about themselves. It brings attention to how was I as a leader today? How do I want to be as a leader tomorrow? So it's literally just a bite-sized 1 page. Half of it is the Success Accelerator. Here's the conversation to be having with yourself or with your team. And then the other half of it is the accelerator. How do you bring that alive for yourself?
I love that. I myself am a huge journaler. I have decades of journals, right?
Awesome.
And it's fun to know how just the journaling has evolved through the years, or even just through seasons of life, and seasons of different types of creativity. But I agree with you. It is so powerful. It just, the act of writing down a thought or an idea it's, for one thing, it just gives you so much clarity. For another thing, it somehow magically causes things to just happen. It's like you've made a declaration. This is what's happening, and bam, it starts happening, right? And It's just amazing. So I love journaling. It's something I do every single day.
Yes, excellent habit. And it becomes habit forming, doesn't it? It's the kind of thing that feeds itself.
Yes.
You get the value of it, and then you don't want to give that value up.
Yes, for sure. And it's a great accountability as well, because doesn't that fit in? Because it's in writing. You can go back and look with the date, always with the dates, right?
Yes.
So it can be a little scary. Right?
A good thing, a little scary in a good way.
So can you give us, for those who haven't experienced journaling, you said that there might be a prompt. Could you give us an example of what kind of prompt might be in the journaling section?
Well, sure. So, for example, if you're asking yourself, what is the relationship between trust and truth? Well, that's kind of a tricky subject, right? So do you have people in your life who have different opinions about things? And have you figured out how to have the inclusive conversation with them? Because trust is at something of a risk here in America, with a lot of what's happening with social media and opinions about this and that. Everybody seems to want to be right and righteous about being right, rather than having the whole conversation that's needed. And so trusting and trustworthy is the number one most important thing. And are you going to get there without some thought about, well, who am I butting heads with? Or who isn't listening to me? Or who am I not listening to? And what's missing? And so a piece of that would be, well, it would be really good to realize that some people are living in a my way or the highway world, and other people are simply running, right? So we have fight or flight at its full expression right now. And what does it take to bring the both and? That would be the question. What do I have to ask? Could we talk about where we agree? Can we agree that we agree about some things? And then what are the facts around that, right? So it begins the inquiry. It begins a robust inquiry into what do we need to be thinking about? What do we need to be talking about? What are we avoiding that would, if we brought it forward, would give us some space, an opportunity for sharing. Wow.
Yeah. So would it be fair for me to say seeking a win-win conversation?
Yes.
Is that too broad?
No, well, another way to say that same win-win is the both and, right? So how do we make space for the both and?
What would you say to the person? Because, you know, I've experienced this when, as a leader, you know, I have moments when I fully believe that to lead others, you got to lead yourself first. And sometimes I'm not leading myself as well as other times. And I am digging in and by
Uh-oh, you've been frozen.
yes, I got kicked off. Now I'm back. Can you hear me and see me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, perfect.
So yeah, I think you were into something
So
pretty
being right versus what? Like if you were to talk someone down out of being right, what would be the carrot that you're holding out, you know, that you would be,
Yeah,
you know?
that's a really important question. So we can talk about the too much certainty of our opinion leads to dogmatic, right? We're right at no matter what anybody else says, we're not listening. We're just looking for who agrees with us. And on the other side of that is so much open and reflective, we don't have an opinion. And we can be bowled over by those people who have a big opinion. But what happens is it stops the flow. And you know, I can honestly say that in my family, there are people I don't want to speak with when there's any heated anything going on. You know, I really need to stay in that neutral zone because I don't have an agenda that I'm trying to push, but that person might. So the both and is an invitation to consider, would there be another place that somebody else might stand that you would allow them to be there? Right. So it's not, if you're hooked by something, unhooked, I mean, you have had some amygdala hijack or some emotional reaction, probably there's something there in you that needs to be worked on. That's what you might not know. You don't know. It's like, what
Yes.
in me is triggered by something somebody else is saying or doing? Why am I hooked? I didn't say it. I don't believe it. It doesn't even affect me. What's the deal here? Right. So that's what you don't know. You don't know is, wait a minute, I have an inquiry over here. Nonetheless, you know, whatever's going on out there, I need to look over here at why I'm hooked, why I've, you know,
Yes.
been uncentered by whatever's going on.
Yes, exactly. So as a leader, what I'm hearing is, as a leader, we're always working on ourselves, right? And our perspective, our attitude, our, you know, to have a trusting relationship with other people, to trust ourselves, to be
Yes.
balanced and be able to see ourselves when we're not centered. and
Yes.
know how to get back there. So
Yes.
would you say that all of this is addressed in your program that you've been talking about, the 52 weeks?
Well, I certainly get to a lot of it, I can say. I don't know if it's everything, right? That's a big, big, big world.
Right,
However,
right. That's true.
however, because the frame that I'm using is one where we're looking at the success accelerators to get access to the dimensions of team power so that those results are supported by trust and results orientation and transparency and bringing a healthy perspective, collaboration, innovation, and accountability. All of that has to weave together in time and with support to make a result that's sustainable and appropriate and makes a difference, right? We can talk about taking on the world of sustainability. We can talk about just producing your basic results of the business. That brings meaning.
Yes, absolutely.
And people want to participate where they're participating in something that is has value and they are contributing to something greater than themselves.
Agreed. I cannot agree with you more on that. Absolutely. It's so important to me to feel like I am, a valued and important part of creating something that has value and impact on the world, right? And a huge ripple effect. Again, I'm going to circle us back to trust.
Mm-hmm.
So for you, Pamela, for our viewers, for those who don't know you, or maybe for those who do know you, to help them to trust you more, what does being a champion mean to you personally? What would make you trustworthy?
So I get up every morning with the background of a promise for the world that what I'm up to is I'm a stand that leaders lead with integrity, with love, and listen for people's greatness. But anytime you're making someone wrong, you're closing a door, you're not opening a door. And that is not easy because the minute we feel that we're attacked or we feel defensive or any of that stuff shows up, we might go into that amygdala fight or flight. And then we've stopped being effective. So having the responsibility, the accountability of the awakeness, the awareness front and center is my job for me as well. I'm always teaching to myself, not just anybody else, right? I'm teaching as a leader with a team. I'm teaching my own self. I'm reminding myself by creating these lessons and having these conversations. I am reminded too, because we're all in the human condition. We're not in the perfect condition and we aren't going to get there before we die.
I love it. Everything I heard you say was just so authentic and genuine and relatable, and that you're just a human like the rest of us, and you're not pretending to be something else. And so I makes me trust you. And to me, that is a champion. Someone who is able to help people to connect to people and to bring get them to want to follow you. And that's what I feel like. I'll just follow you anywhere, Pamela. So you are a champion. So my next question then is, what would you want our audience to know about the value offered at the Champions Institute, which you work very closely with our two co-founders on a weekly basis, I believe, or every other week. And so what would you say to our audience about the value offered at the Champions Institute?
Well, I would say that everything that's brought forward by the Champions Institute is heart-centered, right? There's a real meaning. Your founders just can't help themselves. I share that passion that they share, which is that when you're on the champion journey, it's a journey, and none of us is perfect at it, right? So we're all helping each other. I know for myself, I had said, well, gee, I have this big assessment that I use, and I wasn't doing the bank code. And finally, I said, you know what, I'm going to go do that. We cut it down to the 4 hours you were talking about. That's about the maximum I could tolerate. And my goodness, that was such a delight. It was a wonderful experience. I learned a lot. I found great value in the bank code. I use it myself. I think about it, right? It's another of the many things that were generative and available. And I finally availed myself. And I would say anybody who wants to be on a champion's journey would pull it to them.
I love it. I agree with you. And in fact, viewers, just hang in. Even at the end of the interview, I'll be giving you more information. And just to give you a little bit of a hint of bank code, you can see in my name labeled down here, the bottom of my screen, NKAB. That is my bank code. So if anybody wants to know, don't tell anybody else, but that's my bank code, NKAB. So that gives you a little secret into communicating with me, and even how to sell to me and predict my buying behaviors, if you can believe that.
And I'm a KNAB.
Okay, very good. I love it.
Right.
Mine has actually changed over the past year, believe it or not, which is, I say good news, because we're all always evolving, and it's my purpose, mission every day is to expand and grow into more than I was the day before. And so that to me is a sign that I've been doing that. So that makes me very happy. All right, Pam, I don't want to talk about me. I want to talk about you a little more. We have a little bit of time, and I would like to know, do you have a fun fact that you want to share with us that perhaps not everybody knows?
Oh, I have so many fun facts.
I can't wait. Let's hear it. Give us a good one. Give us a good one.
But so for example, I have been married 3 times. And
Okay.
so has my husband been married 3 times. So it's kind of like the 3-time rule, like 3 is simple, right? Well, so here we are, we're successfully married for 15 years. And I think that's a wonderful thing, because we didn't meet in our youth, right? My father used to say, I'm so glad I'm not saddled with the infirmities of youth.
I love that.
Isn't that a fun one?
Yeah.
So there's that, I mean,
Congratulations.
well, thank you.
I love that. In 15 years. And so you're having a great time, huh?
Well, we're having a great time.
Awesome.
That's one. That's
Okay.
good enough for now.
That's enough for now. Oh, I don't know. Come on. I'm listening. I love it. Oh, that's wonderful. And thank you for telling us that. I want to know who's out there viewing right now, or who's listening later, so I can know if they knew that about you. Do most people not know that?
I don't think most people know that. I don't think they think to ask, how many times have you been married?
That's true. That's true. I don't think I would come up and just say it like that. Unless we were talking about it already. Thank you. That's awesome. I love it. All right. Well, there's one final question I need to ask you. I wish we had time to continue this conversation, because you have such a rich storehouse of wisdom and experience. But how can our viewers find you, Pamela?
Well, thank you for asking, Cheri. My company name is Accountability Pays. You can see it right up there. And that's also the name of my website, is accountabilitypays.com. And I'm pstambaugh at accountabilitypays.com. My website has just been freshened, by the way, because I was at a big national conference in Atlanta a couple of weeks ago. And so everything you introduced about me, except this new offering, is pretty well explained on my website. It's all there. And by January 15th, so will the Success Accelerators and Action Multipliers be there as well.
Oh, okay. Wonderful. You mean, is it January or July?
Or excuse me, July.
Okay, good. Okay,
like,
so that's only a few weeks away, you guys.
Yes,
So look for that. A few weeks away. I'm so excited. Pamela, thank you so much. I just appreciate your time, your generosity of sharing your wisdom with us and pouring into us, and then just this fun, sharing the fun facts and just sharing laughter with me personally. I loved it. And one of my takeaways today is, well, I want to repeat for all of you, recap the 3 things that she pointed out for a leader today is being accountable, awake, and aware. Accountable, awake, and aware. And if you still don't understand what that is, reach out to Pamela at her website. It's accountabilitypays Is
Yes,
that right?
yes.
Or you can email pstambaugh, STAM as in mother, B as in boy, AUGH at accountabilitypays.com.
Yes.
Reach out to her. All of this is so essential for success in all areas of sales, leadership, and communication. At the Champions Institute, we help our clients achieve their purpose, performance, and prosperity by introducing them to the #1 personality training system for high achievers, a very powerful tool for cracking the code to effective communication and better relationships. With this tool, we already talked about it, the bank system. With this tool, you can unlock the secrets, the science, and the system to supercharge your sales and your influence up to 300%. You heard it right. We've got white papers on it, research and studies up to 300%. As my gift to you today, I invite you to crack your code by going to knowyourcode.us, right up here at the top of my screen, knowyourcode.us, and taking a 90-second personality assessment, 90 seconds. You'll receive a custom report with detailed insights about your values and strengths, weaknesses, your communication style, and so much more. If you like today's show, we go live on the 2nd and 4th Wednesday of every month at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern on the TCI Champions Facebook page. I invite you to tune in to our next episode where I'll be interviewing champion expert Kathy Compton, who will be sharing how to powerfully diffuse and resolve conflicts in conversation. To learn more about sales, communications, and leadership training, go to tcichampions.com, tcichampions.com. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time. I'm Cheri Lucas with the Champions Institute, where together we rise. All right. And we are